if you're going to be selling a lot and if you want your brand to represent you and you're not afraid to own it, which you shouldn't be, then you should make yourself a unique piece that you personally like to wear that represents your style and you can wear it all the time. Now, you could have 2 or 3 pieces if you want something for like formal or, one for formal, one for a t-shirt, one for sweater, whatever. But I'm pretty simple. I'm usually just wearing a black t-shirt or something like that. So I'm going to make myself a piece. I wear an arrowhead or a deer antler a lot, but I'm going to make a really unique piece because when you do that, you immediately will get asked several times a day as you're out, "Oh, that's a nice necklace. Where'd you get that from?" Especially if you make something that's not like anything out there, which I suggest you really do, and not in a stressful way like, "Oh, how do I come up with it?" but in a fun way like, "This would be so great." And when you do your own style and it's fun, you really can't mess up because there's no rules. And so this is a 16 gauge antique brass. It's 22 gauge antique copper. I would use the same color, but I don't have 22 in the brass. So copper and the brass, these are really close. This is a little more red, this is a little more brownish yellow, but they're great colors. I like earth tones. I like these jasper earth tones here. We got and the tiger's eye, red tiger's eye, yellow tiger's eye. This is a soapstone. I think the rest of these are jasper of some sort or agate. And I'm just going to make one of my amoebas. If you look back, I used to make a whole bunch of amoebas. An amoeba is just basically, you take about a foot of this wire, of the heavy wire, and you could do 18 if this is hard for you to do the 16, but whatever is fun for you, because 18 is strong too, but it's a little more pliable. And I'm just going to do a crazy shape. I'm going to make sure both my sharp ends are rolled into a loop to tuck them in so I don't have to worry about that later. And then I'm just going to take the rest of the piece and just make like crazy stuff. So let's see. I'm just going to go like bend back and forth like that. In the past, my amoebas were a little bit more wiggly, swirly. But I want this one to have more sharp edges because that's just kind of me. I tend to have sharp edges. I tend to speak harshly to people when they would prefer I speak gently. And then they cry. And then I just say, "Sorry, you knew I was like this. That was your mistake in deciding to speak to me." You notice the gentleness right now as I tell the story. All right, let's see. This is kind of the shape I want. So, just gonna close it off now. Basically, all I do here is I make the outline, and then I take the thin wire and I thread the stones in between, back and forth, and just crimp them and tighten them up. And I put on some jump rings and a cord, and that's it. You can make a gazillion of these a day, and each one will be totally different, and each one will be like your own style. So that's super fun, I say. So I got that. That's anchored pretty good. I'll just bring this over. And I could have probably put a couple of the stones right on this part, but nah. This will just make up the I'll make it a little stronger. Maybe we'll bring it around here once, and then around there once, and then we'll just swirl the rest of it. You don't have to do these cross parts, but if you have extra wire left over, they can add some strength and stability. Now you put it down, make sure everything is flat. You want it to lay flat on your chest. I like to make it a little concave, kind of bend it so the outer edges are touching the surface and the middle can puff up a little bit. So I feel like that helps it lay flatter so it doesn't bounce around too much. And we're ready to take these stones and just thread them in. I don't really need to show this on the camera because a lot of it's just deciding where I want to place them one at a time and just kind of getting them in there. I might not use all of them. It looks like they might not all fit at this point. But you can see already this looks super fun, right? Super cool. So what I do is I just thread it through the stone, wrap it around one of the corners, thread the next stone, wrap it around, and I just zigzag back and forth till I have the whole piece finished. And then I might swirl up the end of this, or I might just wrap it around a few times, tuck in the sharp end. Boom, that's it. This is going to be my top here. So I have some jump rings. It's pretty much it. Pretty much it. And you guys can really make yourself a cool piece. I cut about a foot of the 22 gauge. I'm going to work from the middle and pick a corner here. Just wrap it around twice just to anchor it right there. And then I have these two strands to work with. I'm just going to push one strand out of the way and work with the one strand until it's all used up. Get enough stones on there, and then I'll work with the other strand. And if I haven't threaded all my stones in by then I'll get another piece of wire and finish it off. So say I wrapped around there about 3 times, just get it started, and let's start throwing the stones on there. Oh, this also works best if you have stones with holes drilled through them, which are, if you're searching online, you want to put in the word bead into your search, because bead technically means there's a hole drilled through it, and put in the word stone, or you'll get all kinds of plastic and glass beads in your search. So bead and stone, and then be a little more specific. What colors do you want if you know the name of the stone? And then, just find some cool stones online or at your local art store. I like that right there. Now this has the hole drilled through. I wish it was straight through, but because it's here, we got to wrap it a few times to anchor it really good. But that's no problem. Super fun. Sometimes when you have the stone right where you want it, so it doesn't slide up and down, you can crimp it in place like that before you wrap it into your next anchor. As I'm threading, I'm pulling the loop through like this. Instead of trying to always stab it through with the point, it's easier often to push the side of it and then pull it through as a loop. When you only have about an inch left or 2 centimeters, don't try to thread one more piece in and do it haphazardly. Just end it with your swirl and get another piece of wire. This was 1 foot and I already used up all of it with just 3 stones threaded in, so maybe I should have gotten 2 feet to start with the 22 gauge. That's okay, I'll just get another one. I ended up with this goofy loop that kind of got tangled as I was coming around. Now if I just pull this straight at this point, it's going to make a kink right there, and that'll make a weak spot. You want to avoid kinks with wire, so I unraveled it and I'm carefully flattening it out. These little curves here to try to get it back to normal before I continue, because that way the wire won't kink and you won't have a weak spot. Okay, I want you guys to know something very important. These stones are not exactly where I originally wanted them. They're not fitting as perfectly as I originally placed them. I had to come up with different wire things going all different ways. And there's still weird spaces that I didn't anticipate. And all of that is just totally awesome. As you do your pieces, stop judging yourself, stop trying to make it perfect, and just make something that works. You get better by making 100 pieces. You don't get better by agonizing over trying to make one piece exactly a certain way. If you can fix it in the moment, if you can move them around and squish them, then do it. If you can't, don't take the whole thing apart and cry and throw out your wire, throw it at the wall. Just keep going and make something, just make it cool and fun.